Hey guys, what's going on? It's the Chinnist. Today is April 26th, Wednesday, New Comic Book Day. And today I have a pretty thick haul. I have 25 total with 22 different titles. So kicking it off, we have X-Men Gold number 2. Again, I'm getting back into X-Men now at this point in time, you know, through Death of X, then X-Men versus Inhumans. I really enjoy this team, the lineup that they put into the X-Men Gold team. You know, I'm not really on board with Kitty Pryde leading the team, but you know, I enjoy the team members nonetheless. You know, I picked up a few of the number ones, you know, just to have that that controversial artwork. You know, the subliminal artwork that was in there from issue number 1. So, anyways, you know, issue number 1, it was okay. You know, I enjoy the team. You know, I want to see more out of this now at this point in time. You know, I'm hoping that Blue and Gold does not disappoint me. But yeah, it's okay so far. You know, I was number one was just okay. So yeah, we'll see where number 2 goes and how the storyline unfolds. Okay, so next up we have X-O Manowar. This is issue number 2. I loved number 1. I thought it was awesome. So, you know, the artwork has that great fantasy feel to it. I've been able to catch up. I read through volume number 1 and 2 of X-O Manowar that came out, you know, in the past to kind of get like his background and history. I also kind of went back. I had a couple of the single issues of, you know, when it was originally released back in, was it like 94? So I had that original Valiant run as well. I think I had issues number 1 through 5. So I actually read through those as well. So yeah, I'm pretty much all over X-O Manowar now. You know, I kind of saw him as like some other, like, you know, knockoff imitation Iron Man when you know, I pretty much saw him, but and he's not. The character is there. You know, the character development that I've seen so far is there for me. You know, you see where his drive comes from. He's really a barbarian, and yeah, so I really enjoyed that number 1. I just watched the comic board a live show from yesterday in broadcast. I heard they sold 90,000 copies. I think it broke like Valiant's record for issue number 1. So yeah, cool. Good job, Valiant. Okay, on the Valiant run, we have Britannia. This is the second series, We Who Are About to Die. So I really enjoyed that first series. I enjoyed the artwork. You know, this is kind of like a, you know, it's like a supernatural, you know, horror feel to this in Roman times. And so definitely supernatural going on. You kind of like, you know, the storyline, trying to figure out what, you know, what's going to happen next, or, you know, where these powers are coming from. So I wasn't, you know, I wish number 1, the first series would have ended just a little bit differently. I really enjoyed it overall though, so I was really looking forward to this number 2. You know, number 1 was huge. It was really hot. I didn't know if number 2 was going to be able to carry through that steam, but the second LCS that I go to, they actually sold out. It was off the shelves already, you know, like I think within like an hour of opening. So yeah, really surprised. So glad I was able to put one on my subscription and picked it up at the first LCS I go to. Okay, so next we have Hookjaw. So this is number 5. Hookjaw has been really exciting. I think, you know, I said in the past I enjoyed White just a little bit more, but this is really a different storyline. They're both great White Shark storylines, but this one has a different feel to it. You know, White was really about a solo female, you know, kind of all by herself. This has a different, you know, this is more of like a action thriller movie, you know, that involves some secret agents who, not secret agents, but secret force who came in. I think in this issue you're able to see how Hookjaw got the original spear through his face to give him the nickname Hookjaw. But yeah, this storyline's getting a little bit deeper. You find out that there's something like a hidden box, or, you know, something really valuable, you know, below them, and you also have a Somali pirate action going up above. So yeah, this has been a really exciting storyline. If you like sharks, you know, I really suggest for you to pick this up. Good action thriller, Hookjaw. Alright, so next up we have The Rift. This is number 4. This kind of ties up the storyline. And in the last storyline, you kind of see that the government, you know, they've been aware of these rifts that kind of happen all over the place. And their solution is to get everything that came from the other timeline, you have to put it back into the rift. Once you do that, the rift apparently kind of closes off. They tried to do that at the end of the last issue, and you find out, like, you know, the rift didn't go away, something happened, something's wrong. So in this issue, I guess they tell you what went wrong, and they tie up the entire storyline. So this has been pretty decent. You know, I think I had a little bit higher expectation for this series overall, but it's been a pretty good read. You know, I think I would suggest this one when it comes out in trade, when it does come out in trade. But yeah, the Rift, if you like timeline type of storylines, man, this is pretty good so far. Okay, so this one is not on my pull list. I think they accidentally put it in there, and I didn't really notice it when I was kind of thumbing through before I went to the register. So I kind of thumbed through this one when I got home. And there's a lot of sex scenes in this one, and just trying to figure out what's going on. And I guess there is some supernatural involved, but I think this is a little risque there. A lot of risque stuff in here. So I think, you know, this is like a cult or something, and I think there's some supernatural involved, and it's like an eyes wide shut type of cult. So yeah, I'm not really sure, you know, again, I didn't really recall seeing this in a previous magazine. I definitely did not subscribe to this one, but you know, the artwork was pretty decent. It kind of reminds me of a Killer to Be Killed type of artwork, and I don't know if the storyline could be intriguing. So, you know, again, I wasn't planning on picking this up, but here it is. Okay, next up we have Grave Lilies, and number one, this is issue number 2. Number 1 came out, it seems like 3 months ago, so I'm not sure, you know, what's going on with this timeline, but you know, I picked it up. I'm sorry, I think I got it through one of my monthly subscriptions, and I surprisingly enjoyed it, so I actually added to my subscription on my monthly my weekly LCS. So the storyline is, I think you have 5 teenage girls who kind of wake up in these pods. Their memories wiped, and as they're exploring, they kind of find out that they have superpowers. And so they're trying to figure out, like, you know, who the hell are they? What are their powers? What are the extent of their powers? You know, I think you'll find out there's this, you know, some corporation or something was involved here who made them. But yeah, it's kind of cool so far. The artwork wasn't really there for me at the very beginning, so I think it was a little off-putting, but yeah, I really enjoy the storyline. So yeah, Grave Lilies. If you're looking for like another like teenage, you know, super group, this is pretty decent so far, and it's also by Colin Bunn. So I don't think this one got much popularity out there, but yeah, it's pretty decent so far. Grave Lilies. Okay, so next up on my X-Men run right now, so I also picked up Weapon X number 1, and I was not planning on picking up the ongoing series. I was looking, you know, really just to pick up number 1 to have a number 1, but man, I really enjoyed that storyline. I was, you know, surprising to me that I really enjoyed it that much. So yeah, this is pretty cool to where, you know, the Weapon X program is back in play now, and instead of getting, you know, enhancing mutants for, you know, for weapons of mass destruction, they actually are using, you know, their funding, and they have, I guess, tons of adamantium at their disposal, and they're actually attacking the mutants that possess adamantium. So they're going out after Wolverine. They're going after Sabretooth for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but yeah, so they're able to kind of put on false skin, and apparently Wolverine and Logan can't detect, you know, these guys. You know, they seem human to them. That they're that advanced in their technology. So yeah, this has been pretty cool so far, man. So it's kind of like a Age of Ultron, kind of like after the mutants here. So yeah, Weapon X, this is number 2. Good read so far. Alright, staying on that X-Men run, this is X-Men Blue. I'm surprised that they have Blue and Gold kind of coming out the same week. I assume that they would alternate them, similar to how they alternated the number 1s when they originally came out. So yeah, again, so this is back on the original team. You know, this is the original Scott, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Beast, and Iceman, and Eric Worthington, Angel, who came from the alternate timeline, and you know, they formed their other team, which is great. You know, I grew up with this X-Men through X-Men Classic when I really started collecting comics back in the day. So reading through the first one, I know they came from the alternate timeline. I haven't read through all the titles that they've been in, but I'm not really sure why Beast has like supernatural powers, and why Angel doesn't have his angel wings. He has these, these flame wings. I'm not really sure, how that happened. Or the flame wings. I gotta go back and kind of catch up on some of these characters here. But yeah, really interested in seeing where they take this storyline, and I'm hoping Blue and Gold are equally exciting to me, that I, continue on with both of them. Alright, so next up we have Teen Titans. So I think in the last issue is when Aqualad was brought into the team. And, I grew up with Aqualad really just through the TV show, through Young Justice. And he was a complete badass in Young Justice. When they brought him back here, apparently, trying to expand on that diversity, they made him homosexual. And, I don't know how I feel about that, but... he's definitely not the Aqualad that was represented in the cartoon show that I kind of grew and loved to really be attached to him. But anyways, Teen Titans has been great. The dynamics between the teammates, with Damian kind of adjusting from going to like a solo guy, or the dynamic duo with Batman, learning to adjust to an entire peer group. And you kind of see his character kind of change throughout this series. It's been great so far. You also see this kind of spill over to the Super Sons with John. So yeah, Teen Titans has been excellent. That first trade is out there. Suggest for y'all to go pick it up and maybe continue on in monthlies if you enjoy that. Okay, so next up we have JLA. So, I was really all over this one when it first came out. The end of that number 4, I wasn't really a fan, that number 4 kind of took a little dive for me. So this starts a new series, Heart of the Bastage, which is, this is part 1. So I want to get through one more series, one more story arc, and kind of make my decision if I want to continue on or not. And it looks like the artwork kind of degraded, I guess they picked up a new artist. And, I really like that high detail when it's on my superhero title. So, man, this artwork really isn't there for me, and I'm hoping the storyline picks up to carry it forward for me. So, man, I think I have high expectations for this just because Justice League was kind of a failure to me. But yeah, I'm hoping this gets better, man. I'm hoping the story arc is it's going to be a winner for me. Okay, so next up we have Spookhouse. This is by Eric Powell. I think he does all the artwork here as well, or I think most of it. So this was kind of like an old-time Tales from the Crypt type of feel to it. Really, geared towards the kids. This is really on the kids section, but I thought these storylines were pretty interesting. Some of them were pretty funny, so I continue to pick this one up. So yeah, Spookhouse by Eric Powell. If you like Eric Powell, I suggest for you to check this out. I think trade number 1 also came out, I think, last month. Okay, next up we have Darth Maul number 3. I've really enjoyed this series so far. I was hoping to pick up some variants today, but neither the LCS that I went to had them, or they were kind of snatched up before I got there. So this is Darth Maul going back to the this is pre-episode 1. So this is when he was a complete badass. This is not after he got cut in half by Obi-Wan at the end of episode 1, and continue on in the Rebels cartoons and the Clone Wars cartoons. But yeah, so this is him at his prime, and he's still working for the Emperor, and just like Darth Vader kind of doing like his little solo missions, you have Darth Maul kind of doing the same solo missions on the side. He has a little bit of a vested interest in this mission that he's doing here. But yeah, if you're a Star Wars fan, you enjoy Darth Maul, this has been a great series, man. I suggest go pick it up. You can get reprints of number 1 that's out there, or wait for the trade. Okay, so next up we have Namwolf, and I was hoping to get the cover B that was actually done by Eric Powell, but none of the LCS had him today, unfortunately. So yeah, this one seemed pretty interesting to me. I saw this one over in the previews, and so this is about a guy who, he is a werewolf, and this is during the Vietnam era, to where he's over in Vietnam, and I guess he starts turning into the werewolf. And my understanding is he's always been a werewolf, going into the Vietnam War. So I'm not really sure how he even made it through boot camp, because you'll have a full moon at least every month. So I'm not sure how he got through boot camp, how that no one knew that this guy was a werewolf, and then, you know, to then fly overseas to, you know, be part of the war. So anyways, you know, I enjoy, you know, vampires, werewolves, you know, things of that nature. I don't like the Vietnam era too much. You know, I think, you know, I just read too many stories about it, but, yeah, interested in seeing where they take this one, see if I'm going to continue on with number 2, Namwolf. Okay, so next up we have Night Owl Society. This is issue number 1 by IDW. This was a recommendation from one of the owners at the one of the LCS I go to. I was going to pass this one up just reading through the premise, but he kind of sold it to me. You know, so it sounded like this is more like a realistic. What was the description he used? That's right. It was the Breakfast Club. You know, like real life Breakfast Club. If they went out and started, you know, becoming a team and started doing like the assassin type of storylines out there. So that kind of intrigued me. You know, this artwork is decent. You know, and yeah, I'll see where number 1 goes. See if I want to pick up with number 2 and subscribe on. Okay, next up we have The Visitor, How and Why He Stayed. I actually passed this one up when it originally came out. I got number 1 through one of the, you know, Blind Comics or Comic Box, I forgot which one, but I really enjoyed number 1, so I actually picked up number 2. Here's number 3, and I was able to see like the very beginning of Hellboy, which I'm aware of really just through the movies. And, you know, this guy's kind of like in the background, kind of like observing. And I thought it was pretty cool, man. It kind of gave like a different spin on Hellboy from what I knew, you know, from the movies. And, you know, this issue number 2, you kind of see, you know, he's kind of living on Earth. He's actually, he's gotten married. You know, he's totally implanted into our civilization. And you see another visitor kind of come and he starts interacting with him. So, yeah, this has been pretty interesting. You know, again, I don't really pick up anything of the Hellboy realm. But yeah, I really enjoyed that number 1, and I'm going to pick up number 4 and 5. Okay, similar to The Visitor, I also got Smoketown number 1 through another subscription, and I'm sorry, I forgot. It was either Comic Boxer or Blind Comics. But, you know, when I originally read the premise, it's, you know, I think they described this as like Pulp Fiction, to where there's multiple storylines that kind of all come together at the end. I wasn't really, you know, looking for multiple storylines in one issue, so I didn't, you know, I passed it up when it first came out. But getting number 1 through one of my subscriptions, I read through it, and it was great. It was really, you know, each issue is really a different storyline that all tie together. But issue number 1 was excellent. It was about a wife who was always beaten by her husband, and, you know, one night she just took too much and she killed him. And so it's her with her baby, you know, they go on the run, and man, it was great, man. It was, you know, pretty decent artwork. You know, the character development was there for me, and enough for me to subscribe to this. So yeah, number 2, we're willing to see what this the second storyline is going to be. That we'll see how much it's tied to the first storyline, but it may not be at all. So yeah, Smoketown, different storyline, guys. Okay, so next up we have Jackpot, and there was a huge break. I mean, I totally forgot this was even on my subscription list. But, you know, Jackpot is kind of like a Ocean's 11, and you find out, like, you know, about, like, issue number 4. It was, you know, pretty far into it that, you know, some of these members have, like, you know, superhuman powers. They have, like, you know, mystical powers. So, you know, it went from, like, Ocean's 11 to something that was, like, really different, you know, really, and really intriguing. You know, the only real issue here is the, I guess, the timing of when these come out. I guess, I don't know what's going on with this, the releasing of these issues here, but there was a huge break. I mean, I'm thinking maybe like September is when I picked up, when I got number 4, when it came out on the shelf. So yeah, Jackpot, decent storyline. Okay, so next up we have Killer Be Killed. This is number 8 by Ed Brubaker. This is excellent. I picked up number 1 trade, a volume number 1 in trade. Read through it, fell in love with it, and so I picked up number 5 on, and so I switched over to monthly ongoing single issues now. So man, the storyline ever since volume 2, which I guess issue number 5 on, it's really opened up. You have additional characters who, whoops, sorry about that. You have additional characters that are involved now. You have a detective who is kind of piecing that, you know, it's the same guy kind of doing everything. You have another girl who's involved now who apparently has the same demon afflicting her to where she must also kill, or else, you know, she dies. You know, the demon will kill her. So man, this is getting great. If you haven't picked it up yet, I suggest to pick it up. You know, I thought it was about like gangsters and things of that nature. Not at all. Supernatural's involved. Great storyline. Alright, next up we have the Old Guard. This has been a great storyline so far. You find out that these, you know, this group of individuals, I think there's maybe about, I think they started with about 6. They were basically indestructible. They've lived for centuries at this point in time, but you'll find out that every now and again, when they die, they don't come back. They've never figured out why. They don't know why, you know, every now and again, you know, why they don't come back after coming back for thousands of times, you know. They can't figure out why, so I think you're getting deeper into, you know, the history of these people here, and you also find out that someone else is aware of these people, someone who has a lot of power, a lot of money, and you know, he was able to capture them on videotape. And you know, I assume this guy or girl is kind of after like the Fountain of Youth, would be my guess, trying to figure out why these people live through, you know, indefinitely, trying to capture that power for himself or herself. So yeah, Old Guard, awesome storyline so far. I'd like to see where they really take this one. Okay, so next up we have a couple of variants I was able to pick up. So this is the Scarlet Spider #1. This is the Tom Lyle variant cover, and I was also able to pick up the J. Scott Campbell. So I bagged and boarded this one right away. I think this one was going for like $30 online. So I'm gonna be, I did not pick up another reader. I wish I would have, because I think this one was going for about $20 online. So I'm going to be careful when I read through this one, but I've never picked up another Ben Reilly. You know, I've stayed away from all the Clone Wars and everything else. I'm aware of who he is. I'm aware that he has a different personality from Peter Parker. So I'm interested in seeing how they kind of kick this one off. And, you know, I'm not sure, I don't have any intention to pick this up as an ongoing series unless this #1 really captures my attention. You know, the only Spider-Man that I pick up is actually the Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, just because it's such a different storyline. So yeah, we shall see how this one goes. And again, I am going to try to be careful with the reader that I have here. So yeah, Scarlet Spider. Okay, so next up we have the Flash, and I did pick up just a couple more, just for speculation. I picked up a couple holograms. I'm going to read through the standard, I think cover B, I think this was. So yeah, going through Batman #21, that was excellent. I really enjoyed it. You know, I realized it was just one long fight scene, but man, I thought it was awesome. Way to kick off the series here, in my opinion. It was actually at the top of my list for last week. So last week we were able to see the Reverse Flash go somewhere, you don't know where. The button kind of transported him. He came back, just disintegrated, died, and you did see that blue, you know, energy aura that that killed him. So you gotta assume that, you know, this is the Dr. Manhattan from The Watchmen. So this is going to tie everything back into the universe that the Watchmen are from. So interested in seeing how they really do it. I did enjoy how they kicked it off with that huge fight scene and the Reverse Flash dying at the very end. So yeah, really, you know, I think I'm going to be reading through this one first, to tell you the truth. So that's it for this week's brand new haul. Again, should you like what you see here, please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.